Hello there, it's Pete C from Sample Live Review, and today I'm checking out what is new with Neo Strings from Insanity Samples. Neo Strings was released back in March 2021 and was one of my favourite solo string libraries as it was full of character, a little darker and rather avant-garde. Insanity Samples has spent the last 6 months tweaking, updating and upgrading Neo Strings into a powerhouse string package. I was enamoured with the first version, and the extra features enhance an already brilliant instrument. Neo Strings downloads at 8GB and there are 24 articulations per instrument. There is also 4 new powerful legato modes and dynamic crossfading and live vibrato and non-vibrato control. The 4 mic positions can now be purged to save on RAM, and there is an overlay mode for layering multiple articulations in one performance patch. There is also a new chord mode in the ensemble patch with pre-arranged tutti chords. Neo Strings requires full contact 5.8.1 or better, and it normally sells for $199, but at the time of making this review, Neo Strings was back to its introduction price of $99. Back in March 2021, I was really lucky to review the first release version of Neo Strings, and back then I absolutely loved the instrument. It was full of character, it's a little bit different, and it's exactly what I was looking for at the moment. Now if we move 6 months on, it's a testament to Insanity Samples. I'm still using this library a lot. It's just got so much utility for me, and it just has that character and that bite that I'm looking for. I was really excited when Insanity Samples have released this upgrade, and they've listened to the community and added some features they wanted to anyway, and the changes are really obvious. Now obviously I've gone through the Insanity Samples website and I've checked out their really cool video which shows all the differences, and I'm just going to pick out what is new in this library as opposed to covering old ground, and there's plenty of new stuff to get excited about. I'm going to use the violin main instrument to show off these new features, although there is one big feature which is all to do with the ensemble patch. Now the first big one to talk about is the microphones. So the same 4 mics are here, which are the mid mic left and right, the overhead and the distance, and by default the overhead and the distant are on. Let's say you just want the overhead. You can now purge and turn off the mic, and that will save memory. And if you are pretty greedy and you want all 4 mic signals working, so you've got a nice blend, you can actually see the RAM footprint isn't massive, it's 500 megabytes. It's a very useful feature as you add more tracks, it's going to obviously get bigger. Now the reverb remains the same, so moving down you can see we have this dynamic marker, so it goes from piano, mezzo forte up to forte. Okay, and using dynamic control, and you can see that changes as your dynamics change. Now, there is a toggle on and off where you can stop the mod wheel being used for dynamics, and this leads on to the legato settings. There's now 4 types of legato. So if we look at the adaptive velocity as we're on there already, now I've turned off the mod wheel, you can just play, and depending on your velocity, that will affect the legato. So if I play very softly, and go with a bit more power, you get this sort of wonderful human feel to the violin playing. Now if I slide that up to the speed, depending how fast I play, the legato will adjust, and that creates a really agile instrument. Excuse me. So you have this almost like an acrobatic, expressive violin now, which sounds great. And then you can fix it either to just fast, so no matter what you play. So I'm playing slowly, but the legato's fast. And then conversely, you can go fix to slow. So it doesn't really work for the speed there, but you can have that gorgeous legato on every note if you want to. So that's the legato settings, and obviously you can toggle the dynamics on and on, so you can just use the mod wheel while you play. And that works absolutely perfectly. Now, the articulations are still the same. So if you look on the left, we have all these different articulations. But what you notice, these ones are key switchable. So you can key switch all of the articulations. But if you want to create almost like a performance patch, there are these 4 new key switches up here, and there's also the buttons here which correspond with them. So if I want to add a spiccato, I'm just going to turn the... Actually, I'll leave that on. I like the velocity as well. Actually, I really like all those legato settings. So now, if I play the violin and above 100 velocity, it will trigger this spiccato. And then if I keep the note sustained, it will then sort of seamlessly go back into this true legato. Longs. And that creates more of a performance patch, and you can do this on different articulations as well. I've now loaded up the extended techniques and effects just to run through the changes there. On the top left, you have the extended techniques and the effects, and then on the bottom left, you also have exactly the same techniques and effects, and you have this overlay. Now this is kind of like your second articulation. So let's say I've got harmonics at the top and soltasto. The crossfade will fade from harmonics to soltasto. So and back. Okay. And the expression is mapped to CC1. So if I just quickly remove that and then learn that on the mod wheel, I've now sort of put it where I'd use it. So you can create some really cool effects. So let's go soltasto to sol pol trems. There we go. And you can blend these two effects as much as you want. It's a very, very cool feature. And of course, you can still purge the microphones. And that one patch is 25.32 megabytes, which is absolutely tiny. Let's just change that to something a bit more erratic. So some very cool sounds going on there and lots to sort of play with and manipulate. The last really big feature is the chord mode, which can be found in the ensemble patch. So the ensemble patch, without the chord mode, it's got a lovely playable range. Now, if I click the chord mode on, suddenly all of these chords, all these keys are grouped into color-coded chords. So we have major. And of course you can swell these in on the mod wheel. And let's play another one. Then the yellow keys are minor. Then we have diminished, which are the green keys. And then some augmented. Sustained. Could not resist resolving that sus4 down to a major. And then PWR. Excuse me. And then I'm not going to move on until I do say I'm not 100% what PWR means. So feel free to leave that in a comment or I will investigate that further. Anyway, moving on. Chord mode 2. So you then have your major 7s. Minor 7s. Dominant 7s. Diminished 7s, major minor 7s, and finally clusters. It's got that kind of like ghoulish sound. If you don't like the vibrato going on, you can obviously just change the articulation. And that's got an absolutely stunning, almost like organ-esque sound. It works for the shorts as well. That's chord mode 1. Pizzicato. And to arrange sort of 4-string instruments in a pizzicato in chords, this is a huge time saver. If I was doing that individually, it would take a little bit of time. So yeah, absolutely love it. And then let's just try the tremolo articulation. So this chord mode is a really, really useful feature, especially if you just want to quickly lay down some chords for the chord progression of the cue that you're doing. So that's a really quick look at Neo Strings by Insanity Samples. And one thing I have to say, I really appreciate the fact Insanity Samples have updated an existing instrument. Despite the fact I thought it was really, really good, they have made this instrument a lot better. I think the legato is something that really, really appeals to me. Now you have that speed legato, you can have a really, really agile instrument. So if you're doing like sort of face melting solos on the violin, it's going to work out. The purging of the mics is a really, really useful feature. And then the chord mode is just a big time saver. The overlay for me, again, is absolutely brilliant. I will be using it with mean, the staccato overlay, it just sort of gives more bite to these lines, and yeah, it just really, really works. And all in all, it just shows a lot of thought has gone into the instrument. Now, I do urge you to watch the whole, I think it's 35 minutes video by Insanity Samples, which really goes through in detail all the changes. But on the surface of things, it just feels like a really cool instrument that's been updated and refreshed, and it's all for the better. Do I recommend Neo Strings? I haven't changed my mind from 6 months ago, and I'll be honest, if you ask me in 12 months time, am I still using it? It will be a resounding yes. Thank you so much for checking out this What's New in Neo Strings video. If you like what you heard, feel free to leave us a comment or a thumbs up. Let us know how you use this library, what do you like, what changes appeal to you. If you've not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and check out our other videos, and then pop over to samplereview.com to check out everything that is going on in the world of virtual instruments. Until next time, have a great day, and I'll speak to you soon.